feel, cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys? Oh my goodness. Good to see you. It's been quite the evening of premieres there. I was just trying to catch a bit of Nate's. I forget he's in Costa Rica. It was fun listening to the cicadas in the background, and then Brian's, and before that the Massey Boys and everybody. And I hopped on to Tish's for a little bit of her Friday night flip club. I was doing all that sitting there because I was icing my knee. Let's just say 3 hours in a art museum. It's not the best thing for my knee, but it was so worth it. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Let me say hi to everybody. Gloria's here. Hi, Gloria. And Gail is here. And Nate is here. Nathan, thank you. And Helen is here. Hi, Helen. Wasn't it a beautiful day? Oh my gosh, the big fella was out so clear. It was gorgeous. In fact, this morning we were driving in, and there's one point where you're coming up I-5, about close to the military road exit near the airport, and you can see the tip of Baker. It's a very, very odd spot. You don't expect to. So I saw the tip of Baker this morning too. Yes, and yeah, it was just a gorgeous day. Gorgeous sunny day in the winter in Seattle. There's nothing quite like it. Okay, I'm going to just check my sound thing because I keep flipping it around back and forth. And output is there and input is there. I got it right. Okay, everything's good. Double checking, double guessing. So, yes, Helen, fixing your tea. Nice. I had some tea when I got home. I had some of my, that's what I don't have. I don't have anything to drink. I don't even have water. Hang on. Texting the husband. Yikes, I forgot. Bob. Good. Just a sec. So I don't yell. There we go. Okay. So, yes, Nate's here. Hi, Julie. Lurk tonight. Busy weekend, so you need to edit. Okay, I understand editing and lurking. I would do that early on, and I would have everything up, and I would edit and lurk and listen.
Busy or still?
Busy. Busier still, water. So, but I'm still transitioning all of my stuff to the new computer and the new setup, so I'm still on the old one, but for some reason, not all my hard drives are recognizing everything. I started to move, so some things are in the ether someplace, and I have to find them. So I'm not even going to go there with editing because I'll just get freaked out if I can't find stuff. So I just ignore it. Ignore it and hope it all comes back. Okay, so tonight I warned you that I would be a little hyped up, possibly tiny little bit, after going to see the Imogen Cunningham exhibit at Seattle Art Museum. If you want to see what I saw today at all, you can just on YouTube say Imogen Cunningham, and there is a retrospect, like a 16-minute retrospective of the show, of the exhibit that I spent 3 hours in. So, I'm sorry, squirrel. And so that's what we're winding to. But it's led me in a really cool direction. I'm going to tell you guys about it. But I had to put this up. Nathan, episode 2 premieres tomorrow. Nice. Woohoo! That's right. Woohoo is right. If the air quality, our air quality, well, down here it was pretty beautiful today. Yeah, Mount Baker is so gorgeous. Artist Point. My dad was so funny when they moved to La Conner full time. They'd had a cabin up there for some time, but when they moved there full time at one point, and they were in Shelter Bay, he he called me and he had been very excited. I called him. I wanted to ask him something. Mom said he wasn't there. He was skiing, and I said, "Oh, okay." And he sent me a note and said, "Yes, Mount Baker lets you ski free when you're 70." Well, he had skied free his whole life because he had been a founder of a ski area here in the state. He was one of the people who helped to find originators of White Pass ski area. So he was pretty used to skiing for free. But he thought it was really cool that they let an old guy, but they don't do that anymore because a lot of old guys do. But back then, when he was 70, there weren't as many older gentlemen. He skied till he was, I would say, till he was 89, probably, I think, till he skied. Yeah. It's, my knee doesn't hurt, really. Thank you very much, Gail. I appreciate that. But we iced it a bunch. It just got so swollen that it was really like, it's supposed to bend. It was like going, and I'm trying to get into the Mini Cooper, and I'm like doing the crab shuffle in, and I'm 5'11", and most of that is in legs, and so to bend him up, pretty crazy. You hear a clicking. I wonder. I turned off the heat. Not sure. That could be me clicking on things because I have a lavalier on, and I bet it's clicking on something. I'll try that. Bad snapping sound. Is that better? I have a hard drive. Okay. All right, you guys. I just changed the lavalier. And let me check to make sure things are plugged in all the way. Okay, I'm going to go down to the bottom up here. And yes, it's good. It's gone now. Whew. Yay, it stopped. I had the lavalier probably attached someplace that something else was hitting it. So, fair warning, the Imogen Cunningham exhibit was amazing. So, the story I'm going to read tonight is a book that I have that is usually sitting back there about her. And I was going to do both Imogen Cunningham and Ansel Adams and kind of do a combination, but I can't. I can't do them both. It just is too much. Plus, dangerous thing to send to go see a very inspirational exhibit and then walk into the museum bookstore. Yeah. So there's a news stack over here about different artists around. And so that's going to be a whole cool series. Plus, I found this really cool magazine called Keep Showing Up that I'm going to feature once in a while. And it's a quarterly published magazine, and it is not cheap to get, but it has different articles and stuff about different kinds of artists and stuff from all over. And I thought it would be cool to share some of the things with you guys with that. But for tonight, first off, the book is called Imogen, the Mother of Modernism and Three Boys. So before we get to the book, I need to share a little bit about her. Come on, there we go. So I'm going to pull up some things. I took some shots today at the museum so you could kind of see what it was. So she was born in 1883 in Portland, Oregon, and was a portrait photographer in Seattle till the early 1900s, advocating for the role of women in the arts. She lived until she was 93, and she worked until she was 93. She was actually working on a book called After 90 when she died. And the person who was working on it with her literally had visited her a couple of days beforehand, and she was still talking about it. She had a camera similar to, let's see if I can go back to this one right here. Oops, can't see it. Pull it next to me. Except this is a Kodak Duoflex. She had a Rolleiflex, which is quite nice. She was known for always having it. Her grandchildren even said she always had it around her neck. She didn't do a lot of grandmotherly things, they said. And her own comment in a movie that they did of her, she was that children were when they were younger, she didn't have a lot of interest in them, but once they got older and had some intellect and were interesting, then she wasn't. Yes, so that was kind of the who she was. She was really. It was at a time when women were not to be. I mean, like Georgia O'Keeffe was told, kind of went to school. They told her to be an art teacher because women weren't suggested to be artists at all. Imogen Cunningham went to the University of Washington to study photography in 1903. And she would have been there at the same time that my grandfather was there. And he was there in 1902. And there were only a very small handful of students there and very few women. But what's interesting is that they didn't have a photography course per se, but she wanted to learn photography, so she was a chemistry major. And then she worked for a botanist, and she learned these kind of things. So they all kind of came together. She also was highly connected with the artist community wherever she lived. And Ruth, Asawa, I always get the name wrong. Ruth Asawa, who's a famous Northwest sculptress of wire and basket type things, and Martha Graham were both very good friends of hers. And so that's kind of pretty cool. She had a studio in Seattle. But before that, when she was young, in high school, she told her father that she wanted to be a photographer, and he built her a darkroom. Pretty funny. Um, so I'll show you some more things. I'm going to read the story first because the images that I have to show you would kind of give that all away if I didn't do it first. But the story about Imogen. Tuck this back here. Let's see how we're doing. Take a deep breath. There we go. Keyboard's still in the way. Yes. So The Mother of Modernism and Three Boys by Amy Novesky and illustrated by Lisa Cogden. Amy is an award-winning children's book author. Her picture books include Elephant Prince, Me, Frida, and Georgia in Hawaii. So she's done a book about Frida Kahlo and Georgia O'Keeffe. And Lisa Congdon was raised in upstate New York and Northern California, where she grew to love trees and wildlife. And now she does these beautiful color paintings and drawings. She lives and works in San Francisco. So you'll see the end paper is done in plants. Imogen Cunningham started out with this early type of photography called pictorial, where it was making a picture seem very dreamy and kind of out of focus, and the pictures that she did, the early ones. And then she moved to San Francisco, and she had the three children and the three boys. And she couldn't get out and around, so she took it to her backyard, and so that's why the plants. Imogen, the Mother of Modernism and Three Boys. There she is. Imogen was named after a princess in a Shakespeare play, but she didn't expect life to be smooth and easy and beautiful. Her family didn't have much, and life was hard atop the wild hill they called home. Her mother took care of Imogen and her 5 siblings. Her father taught her to read and to draw. On Sundays, Imogen helped him pull taffy instead of going to church. Her father was a very broad thinker. When Imogen was a teenager, she declared she wanted to be a photographer. Her father wondered why she chose such a messy profession, but he built her a darkroom in the woodshed, lit by a single candle in a red box. Imogen worked her way through school. She studied chemistry and botany. She read poetry. She was the only one in her family to graduate from university. It was the beginning of the 20th century. With only a few dollars in her pocket, she opened a portrait studio in the city. She gave flowers to her subjects and told them to think about the nicest thing they knew. With its heavy glass plates, cumbersome equipment, and chemicals for developing film, photography was indeed a messy profession. Imogen loved it. Then she fell in love with an etcher named Roy, who wrote her long letters from Paris. They had a small wedding and spent hours outdoors make-believing scenes from fairy tales. Imogen took photographs that looked like paintings. Soon, Imogen and Roy had a baby boy named Griffith. And nearly 2 years later, 2 more, the twins, Rondell and Patrick. Suddenly, Imogen had her hands full taking care of her sons. There was barely enough money for film after food was bought, and 3 hungry boys to cook for at dawn and dusk when the light was just right. Imogen wanted to take pictures, but she couldn't leave the house, so she focused on her family. She built a dark room at home and turned the garden into a wonderland for her boys and a workshop for herself. She cultivated agave and aloe, flax and hyacinth, banana plant, calla lilies, magnolias, and morning glories. While she worked, her boys played and Imogen photographed them. Click! The twins picking foxglove buds. Her older sons wonder at a handful of nasturtiums. Click! One boy holding a mouse, another a bird. A snake in a bucket. They didn't have an ordinary paint. This photograph was in the exhibit. Click! Freckled ears and feathered headdresses, glowing birthday cakes, her 3 growing boys. She photographed her bespectacled father, her mother with a crown of silver spoons. Imogen found a little beauty in everything. Both of these pictures are in the exhibit too. And for 1 hour every afternoon while the boys napped, Imogen focused on flowers, including a common magnolia blossom that she shot up close. When one mischievous twin interrupted, Imogen sent him out into the sun with her proof sheets until they were developed. She set up an apple box for him to stand on to pluck prints out of the chemical baths when they were done. Then, under the soft glow of a red bulb, her 5-year-old son beside her, Imogen watched as the images she'd captured, her boys, her blossoms, slowly emerged on paper. She knew she had something special. Her magnolia, with its luminous petals and jeweled stamen, was magnificent. After a day's work, when the light was just right and the house was alight with 3 hungry boys, Imogen cooked for them. She didn't expect life to be smooth and easy and beautiful, but sometimes it was. Here's a little bit more. Here's a self-portrait that she did in the early 20s with her boys. She had several self-portraits that she did. It was very interesting. She was one of the finest photographers of the 20th century. She was a devoted mother, one hand in the dishpan and the other in the darkroom. That's something else. She was called the mother of modernism and 3 boys. At the turn of the century, there weren't many women photographers. Women were expected to focus on children and the home, not the higher arts. Imogen focused on her children and her home. She photographed them. Working from home allowed Imogen to be with her family, and photographing them led Imogen to focus on the plants and the flowers, most notably her signature magnolia blossoms, for which she is best known. As a child, Imogen lived on Queen Anne Hill in Seattle, and she spent most of her life in the Bay Area with her husband Roy and their sons Griffith, Rondell, and Patrick. Then she lived in a little white cottage on Green Street in San Francisco. It's after she and Roy were divorced in 1934, I believe. Then she wasn't taking photographs. When she wasn't taking photographs, she tended to her beloved garden, which grew with bougainvillea, Mexican mock orange, a rare black begonia, and a geranium from Virginia Woolf's garden. November 12th is Imogen Cunningham Day in the city that loved her. That's pretty cool. So beyond all of that, on these other pictures that I wanted to show you, that it talked about her father. And I have to show you, let's see, take you on a little trip today. So this was an image that was done by Gertrude KPIR. that was an inspiration to Imogen Cunningham. That photograph was done in 1899. Yeah, 1899. So then The World Beyond Wood, this is one of her, when she started to do the botany, when they were in the garden, and she couldn't do sunsets and sunrises because she was at home. So the light during the middle of the day is not always the best, but she used it to her advantage with that shadow and doing these type of things. She also would take out a backdrop sometimes behind her flowers and either used a white or a black one to create these images that she did. This photograph is one I was looking, I have one that I remember I did similar to this type of thing, this patterning, because I remember her work and studying it and myself to see how that works. This, if you can look really carefully, I don't know if you can see, there's water droplets on that. This, I think, was taken, I don't have the date on it. It was, Hens and Chicks, probably about 1930, 34. After she and Roy were divorced, she was working for Vanity Fair and different places for that type of thing to make money. They divorced in 34, needed to ramp up her commercial work to support herself and make commissions from magazines like Vanity Fair and Sunset. So she did these, she was one of the first people to do color work too for Sunset magazine, which I thought was pretty cool. But this is the photograph that I really wanted to show. I remember my high school photography teacher showing us this when we went through the history of different photographers. This is Imogen's photograph of her father at 90. And this is the gentleman that built her built her a darkroom. His business was a wood and coal is what he had. He sold wood and coal, but he was chopping that wood at 90, and she and her father were very close. He was pretty domineering, but he was still they were very close. He had to stop his formal education during the Civil War. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I thought, I still remember this, and when I saw it today in person, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this. I remember seeing this in high school. You never quite know what is going to. Now this whole little set right here this is a combination of 4 different images that she put together to make the cover of this art and architecture magazine back in, I can't remember what year. It was very old, but it was, this is the work of Ruth Asawa, who she took pictures of, and Ruth actually sketched this out one time of Imogen and her kids and her at the beach. This is a photograph that Imogen did of Ruth Asawa there. She's the one bent over, and there's her children. Ruth Asawa was a sculptress that did this beautiful wire mesh type of things, and she and her whole family were sent to the Japanese internment camps during World War II. These are the 4 images that Imogen Cunningham took and pieced together for the cover of that magazine. And there is a portrait that she did of Ruth Asawa. It's just so amazing. But I'll tell you what, there's some other things, but one of the things I had to show you guys, and you can see this, watch the shadows in this. I don't know if I'm muted here. So watch the shadow. This is a hanging exhibit of Ruth Asawa's stuff at the exhibit there. And if you take a step from side to side, and in the background there's a movie of Martha Graham going on, but how it's lit and where you step from side to side when it comes back around and sees that piece, and then this tall one, you see the shadows there on the wall. When you stand right there, it has a certain way. Well, then in this one, this is here, I moved my steps over by just a few steps, and the shadows changed so significantly, and it completely changed the whole look of the exhibit of that particular hanging, but the shadow work with it too. So I wanted to show that to you because of the perspective and what it does and the light. She also, this is a woman named Laura Anderson, who's a well-known ceramicist. And so she worked with other artists in the community. Didn't have to be just photographers. They worked together, and she would photograph their work or photograph them working because she had this fascination with the hands and what they do to shape everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. And there is a self-portrait of her when she's much old. She loved doing reflections, and she was kind of an early street photographer. She did this surreptitious street photography stuff too, and it was pretty cool. And as I told you, I think she was a founding member of the group F64 that Edward Weston, Brett Weston, his son, Ansel Adams, Imogen Cunningham, Minor White, oh my gosh, a couple other women and stuff that founded that were the basis of the West Coast photographers and what they all expanded to. So, and this was a quote that I wanted to show you that I thought was really cool that said, "Under the influence of art, the fetters of conventionality fall away and natural freedom prevails." A belief that Cunningham and Graham shared. For me, that just kind of was such a real part of what she was about, how art prevails and their connection. Oh my gosh, it's just to see this work and then to see how we've translated it and to use it further and how it relates to us, how that photograph of her father that I remember from high school, how it has influenced some of the photographs I've done since. I still love doing black and white, but also the way the light. The other thing I wanted, all of her work she did with natural light. So they were all natural lit with sunlight, or she would maybe, sometimes she took a whiteboard outside when she was doing the flowers, but everything was done with natural light and reflection. She would watch the fall of shadow and light on the face or on something. There was a really interesting photograph of, it was a Mr. and Mrs. somebody, and the woman was prominent in there and reaching out, and all you saw of her, the mister, was her holding his hand. All you saw was his hand. Barely, the other side was dark, and she was in light, and he was off in the shadows, and you just saw his hand coming in at the end, and it was a real statement of her belief of the strength of the women that that she surrounded herself with, and that she believed that women had. This is at Seattle Art Museum. It's only there till February 6th, so next week. But if you're a member, you get in for free. And if you're a senior citizen, if you're not a member, the prices are lower. And it's, and plus, once you're in, you can see everything else. And Seattle Art Museum is, I couldn't last more than 3 hours there, really, but I've seen several. I saw Picasso there. I saw there was Edward Curtis, who was an early photographer that Imogen Cunningham actually worked for Edward Curtis when she first was starting out. She interned at his studio in Seattle. And Edward Curtis is the one who did the very famous older images of Native Americans. And he's the famous one of Chief Seattle, and all of those were done by him. Oh, Helen, you've got to come down to Sam. Yeah, you can. I mean, because you could come over, and you could actually catch the Sounder train down from Mukilteo and get off. Well, you could get off down at the main station and then just catch an Uber up to Sam. It's on 2nd and Seneca, I think. 2nd and Union, maybe 2nd and Union. Anyway, it's a fabulous museum. Used to be up on Capitol Hill, but that's the Asian museum, Seattle Art Museum Asian section is still up on Seattle, up there. Oh, right. So, 4 to 6 artists, yes. Janice, you were on there. I got on there for a few minutes tonight. Janice was on. Tish, I thought you guys were going to be on longer, and I was going to be able to jump in, and I didn't. So I'm going to go back and watch the whole thing afterwards because I wanted to see what you were doing. Yeah. One of the things, okay, you talked about the spiral. I know. I'm going to give you a little hint of what's to come one night. and one night. This is another person that was friends with Imogen Cunningham, but Imogen Cunningham, early on in her career, went to New York, and she wanted to meet Alfred Stieglitz, but Stieglitz was huge, and she was very intimidated by him. Some 30 years later, she went to New York as his peer and a colleague, and she purposely didn't take her camera with her when she went to his studio so that she could ask him if she could borrow his so she could take his photograph, and he let her. I thought that was very clever of her. But so, a little hint, Angie's going to love this. It's talking about spiral. Yeah, that will come another night. That's another book. This is one of the books I got through George's eyes. Oh, we'll have to do that one another night. I can hardly wait. Yes. Terrible. Okay, stop. Oh, I'm jumping all over the place. So let's see. I was just checking what everybody said. You know, sometimes I think that we forget what kind of treasures are in our own backyard that we never think of. I mean, Seattle Art Museum has been around forever. I did not go for the longest. I think maybe I went once when I was young, when it was still up on Capitol Hill. Oh, I did. I went actually when I was in college, and there was a photography exhibit up there, and it was stunning. But I hadn't gone again, and then the Picasso exhibit came into town, and Bob and I decided to go, and it was like, what have we been missing? And so we kind of made this vow to ourselves that when we go someplace, we'll hit the museums like this. We were in, I think, was it Reno? Or no, maybe it was coming down. I can't remember. It might have been in Las Vegas, and we went to a Las Vegas art museum rather than go to the strip and see all the things there. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was really pretty amazing to see what you can see. Anyway, yes. Oh, yes, Helen, go to Seattle 3 times a month, and then let me know. We'll meet up. I would love. I'm not going to show at the Ant at the Seattle Center this in February because I just am not up to getting up there tomorrow or Sunday to drop off my stuff to show. But I'll be back in that gallery in March. But found it and subscribed. Artapalooza on Wednesday night. She does Friday night Flip Club, Saturday night Creative Tribe. That's, Creative Tribe is something I think I really want to look into. Have to tell me about it, Angie. Send me a message. Yeah, slick. Yes. Lots of. Oh, hashtag FNFC is Donna is Friday night Flip Cup. Probably already got that. So many premieres. Okay, tomorrow, doesn't it start? Isn't there a huge 2-day train? I know it's Art with Donna M is in it tomorrow afternoon. I think it's the other Brian, not Brian with the I, but Brian with the Y. His Toyland Express. I think that starts tomorrow, and there's 23 artists or something like that. Like this. Okay, Angie, what was this about? Like my grandmother said to my grandfather the first time she saw him, "Do you believe in love at first sight, or do I need to walk by again?" That's pretty good. Artist Haven is Tish, the person in who has that's the name of her channel, and she hosts Artapalooza. She uses Ecamm and StreamYard, and she can get like 7 people on there at a time. It's pretty amazing. So, yes, it's just in Maryland, right outside. Took all things there for the granted. I know we take the things for granted that are right in our backyard. I've seen in some my mom used to, like I said, do volunteer work, and so she would work for the volunteer at the Yakima Art Museum, and there's actually it's not much, but there's a small section that is devoted to my aunt who was the silhouette artist, and I'm thinking, I've got so used to Annie Kay doing her silhouettes of us at things all the time that I forgot that during her time there were not the silhouette artists like she was that cut things with, manicure scissors. And she was known in worldwide. There were only a few of them. And she was one of the best in the world. And yet little Annie Kay in Hera, she was a high school art teacher. And at family events, she would would pop her little thing of black paper and her manicure scissors, and you'd be sitting there and boom, there it is. And so we all have pictures of ourselves done, eyelashes, the whole bit. There's one, a friend of mine has their whole family done by her. Brian's Toy Train, thank you, on Creative. Oh, creating your avatar, manifestation. Oh, lots to do. I have double classes tomorrow in the afternoon for another group of type of thing. So, all right. Well, I'm just checking up here. Donna, really? Never went to the statue. It's amazing. Amazing. I finally went to the Mount St. Helens Visitor Center to see all the stuff about that. I lived through that blow up. You would think I would have gone, but it's just something about going to these places and to seeing these things. And okay, the bonus that I did not expect to get, I showed you that slide that said about the people, the group F64 Club that had started that and she was part of. So I thought I was going to see Imogen Cunningham. No, they had pieces there by all of those people that were the founders of F6. So there was about 20 pieces, and there was about 4 from Edward Weston, 2 from Brett Weston, his son. There were 3 from Ansel Adams, the one with Oliver Cox and Georgia O'Keeffe that he took of the 2 of them. And oh my gosh. And then there was Minor Whites and 2 of the women that I can never get their names because they're complicated. And all of these, and I was like, bonus, this is a bonus. I had no idea that those were in the exhibit. And whew, that was breathtaking as it was. I get a little, and then as we walked out, we went through this whole nother part of the gallery that was all just giant abstracts that this family here in Seattle donated, that was their private collection. And oh yeah, you can go through all kinds of stuff. Oh, yay. Wow. Yes. We did those at school where you'd stand in the shadows, and they do that around there. Annie Kay Walker was her name. And literally she never didn't have it, it's like done all in one, where she would cut practically, like there's eyelashes and my curls, and they're the most amazing things. And she would do them. She didn't draw. She did it completely freehand with the paper in her hand like this. Let me go this way here. So like she would hold a piece of paper in her hand like this, and she'd have her scissors, and she would just start watching you, and she would just cut and cut and cut and move the paper around and keep watching you. Which one? Do. And the next thing you know, she'd slap it on a piece of white paper, and you'd have this silhouette that was like, what? Oh. Okay, I don't know how to be on the panel tomorrow. Janice, I would love to. And I think I'm supposed to send Tish a message or something like that. I have, yeah. All right, yes. Okay, you guys. It's 7:18. You're a special group of people. Going to that exhibit today, I was walking around and I would see these things where they would say about the different artists, and I said, I have that now. I have that now. We have that. Oh my gosh, we have that. We have that connection. We have that community of artists that we can feed off of each other, and you can see my hands going around like a crazy person. That music for some reason keeps starting there, and I'm not sure why. Was it doing it the other day? Oh well, I must like that music. So we have that cool community that we can share ideas and share thoughts. I got a book on Matisse paper cutting, what he used to do, and I thought, oh my gosh. So that's in this stack. That's a whole nother thing where we're going to need to do that. And I just got tons of ideas, and it's just, I love the way it explodes, because I get ideas from you guys get ideas from me, we share them, we trade them. It's the best around, and I think it's a universal theme through the arts, the study of the artists that I have seen, is that they have that kind of community, and it's not only just their own field. It is a field of people who believe in the art and who believe in what it does for us, and the beauty of all different parts of it, and the respect that we have for each other through our art, no matter what. And I think that is absolutely essential. Yeah, too amazing. Okay. Yeah, there's been the interactive Van Gogh has been up here, and I haven't gone to see it. But if you let me give you a recommendation. If you ever go to an exhibit, um, and they have the audio files to listen to, get them. Even if it means renting a thing. But right now, usually what you can do, like I had my headphones today, so they had a QR code, and all I had to do was scan the QR code, and it had different images that it described, and I could listen to it. But when the Picasso exhibit came to town, it was the first time I really decided I started to go through the exhibit, and then I was like, I don't really, you know, didn't really get it as deep. So I went back and I got the audiobook thing and listened to it. Oh my gosh, you just get such a greater depth of what their work was and what an understanding of why this body of work was put together and how it was curated and what the artist was like. It's, it's pretty fantastic. So, all right, you guys. Second video premiere tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, your time. That'll be 2:30 p.m. here in Australia. So this is Nate's. Okay, this is online math. 10:30 p.m. Eastern is going to be 7:30 my time. So Helen, we got 7:30. Julie E, you're Arizona, so you're Central Time, I think. I can't remember. That's right. You're in Arizona. You guys never change time zones. Anyway, I'm putting that in my book for 7:30 for Nathan. He's got my reminder on. Premieres are going to be fun, but they always fun to go back. That idea of putting somebody on in the background and just listening to theirs to get their hours up, that would be great. I'm getting there to get subscribers. think I'm at like 84, 85. I'm trying to get to 100 so I could get my little thing. And so, Angie did a great job the other night. Thank you so much, Angie, of promoting that when you were doing yours, because I got like 3 or 4 more subscribers from that. I really appreciate that. And it's just fun. It's just fun. It's unfortunate we have to have these numbers to meet these quotas because, but that's the way of things are. So, it's it's that like and subscribe. Somebody said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do that." I'm sorry. We worked for stickers when we were kindergartners and gold stars. We're still we're looking for thumbs ups and those kind of things as adults. What the heck? All right, you guys. I am going to let you guys go for the night. Let's see how much we got people down here. I'm going to throw your comments up on the closing and just say, you guys are amazing. I hope you enjoyed this. The next few nights are going to be celebrating these variety of artists that we have. I've got Ansel Adams, but I've got Georgia O'Keeffe. I found a book on a book called Line and Scribble, very cool. I found a book on The Radiant Child, and another one about Alexander Calder. The Radiant Child is about Jean-Michel Basquiat, which is a pretty cool, amazing book, which was interesting because the illustrator did her own interpretation of his work, which will be a fun thing to see. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a great evening. I'll see you on the premieres or in other chats. And if not, I'll see you back here sometime soon, I hope. Until then, keep looking. I'll tell you this. Share the beauty that's hidden in plain sight. Share that's inside you and share that's all around you. Until later, talk to you soon.